Welcome to episode 350 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I am joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we got to get it over with fast in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So we played a little bit of Sonic Adventure. Ryan played Sonic Adventure DX, which is pretty much the same game, just a few bonus features that are placed in there. I did play it on Dreamcast, so we'll get to that in our inflation deflation for the week. But Ryan, tell the people what we're going to talk about today.
All right, so this week we ask stupid questions and we get stupid answers. Young people are spending less on gaming and frivolous things. I wonder why. Then Nintendo wants to know, how much are you willing to complain about key cards? And unfortunately, we wrap it all up playing a game no one asked about.
What do you mean? It doesn't have good reviews?
I mean, it does, but like, I don't know. So that's the challenging thing about Sonic Adventure, is that it has this wild nostalgia grip on a lot of people. And my biggest familiarity with it, I mean, we'll get into this all later on.
Yeah. I've got some nostalgia here with Comp USA tied in, so that'll be pretty interesting. All right. Well, you can find us on the GameDeflators.com. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators on X, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. We are also a podcast on a podcast application you're listening to today. So go ahead and like, subscribe, comments, all the stuff that you could do on that. Leave us 5-star reviews. And then, of course, we are on YouTube, where you can find all of our crappy gameplay footage, prior episodes, and shorts. So go ahead and click the little bell so you know when we're on. Okay. Pickups. I didn't really have much, but I got Speed Paint Medium for D&D painting. Yeah. Have you used this before?
No, I haven't.
So, with Citadel paints, you have the contrast paints, and then you have like your base paints, your contrast, you have your effect, your technical, and then you have your effects. So what this does is it turns your standard paints that you have with Army Painter, or really any acrylic paint for that matter, into a Speed Paint medium. So it turns it into a contrast paint. So Speed Paint is the contrast version for Army Painter. And then this little doohickey pretty much allows you to do like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 drop ratio for the paint with Army Paint, and then turn it into a contrast paint, essentially.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you just need like the one color instead of having to double, triple up or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. So if I had like one type of blue, for example, that I really liked, and I wanted to go on like a certain shade, I saw some videos, or not videos, but like some pictures. And it said, hey, this is what this particular paint looks like if you just straight on paint it. Here's if you add 2 drops. Here's what it looks like if you had 3 drops. And like each shade is different. So you could theoretically have.
Is it not just paint. Like white?
No, it's like a liquid. It's like water mixed with acrylic paint. And it's a clear.
But I mean, does it like lighten it?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what it does is it makes it thins out the paint. So that way you have to put on more layers, right? So you put it on and you get like one color of layer, and you're like, I want a little darker.
It's just the depth.
Yeah. And so what it does is all those little crevices as well, it seeps into those crevices. So in areas that are supposed to be darker, you'll get the darker colors. And then on areas on top, you'll get whiter colors.
Or lighter. Base in black.
Yeah. So, well, I base in black, and then I go ahead and quickly dry brush in a white. And then that allows me to get more depth and pop within my colors. So I'm going to have my darker tones in the black areas. And of course, I'm going to have on my white sections, it'll be a different color. But yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty thin at that point, and you just layer it on, say, okay, cool. I like how it looks. Or you know what? I want it to be a little bit darker. Let me lay on a little bit more of that paint. So yeah, I've been wanting to get this for a while. I went to Authority Games over here, and they had it for like $6. Amazon's got it for 20. So shop local. There you go. So that was my pickup. As far as what I'm currently playing, I have started my new games resolution of the year in The Witcher on PC. I'm playing I think it's a remastered or enhanced edition of The Witcher. Looks good. I mean, I've got it running on full settings. I think my card is lying to me. It's saying I'm running at 1200 frames per second. I'm pretty sure that is incorrect, but maybe it is. I don't know. But I'm enjoying it. As far as like, mouse and keyboard and all that, pretty straightforward. I haven't had any issues with battles that I've been involved in so far. And I like it. Graphics are decent, for what it is. Of course, it's an older game. So while it is rendered differently and smoother textures and things of that nature, and it's enhanced, you still have like hair that doesn't wave. It's just like a cut straight across. Like,
Yeah.
there's some pretty shitty graphics overall. But
it's pretty stiff with its animations and stuff from what I remember
yeah,
hearing. I mean, it's definitely like one of those games that was super advanced and crazy at the time, but with age and iteration is really kind of like more of a relic to look back at than something to kind of like it makes it just a little more harder to appreciate with how far they've come, I guess.
well, and it's funny because I've seen pictures. You know that meme of like the horse, and it's got the really crappy or no, it's like, yeah, like usually it's like really good drawing, and then it gets worse, and it's like dog shit towards the end because it's supposed to represent like as a series moves forward, the crappier it gets. So usually we'll say with like Assassin's Creed and such, for example. But with The Witcher, it's the opposite. It has like the really poorly drawn horse butt, and then the center, and then like the beautiful horse on the front side for Witcher 3.
Mm.
I mean, having not played Witcher 3 and not played Witcher 2, which somebody out there be upset that I didn't, I guess. I'm happy I'm
Well, I
starting
mean,
on number 1.
yeah, you better off starting at the beginning, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, starting at the beginning, it means that I'm only gonna move up, right, in terms of quality of game, and I like it so far. It's not like it's a bad game. I think it's about 20 hours in length, for this one, but, so far, like I said, it hasn't been bad. The, keyboard and mouse is not as bad as I thought as it would be, um, so we'll see. We'll see where we go
I
from there.
hate keyboard and mouse. There's just too many buttons.
It allows you to kind of set it. I put it on easy mode because I'm like, I haven't played a keyboard and mouse game in years. Since honestly Neverwinter, as sad as that sounds. So, and that was like before the Diamond Enhanced Edition. That's like when Neverwinter first came out, and I was playing that. So that's my last RPG on mouse and keyboard. And it has a setting on there where it says, hey, you can pick easy mode and then easy for clicks or whatever, right? So like your attacks, and you don't have to rely as much on hotkeys and things of that nature. Very straightforward. Like I have Z, X, and C allow me to switch the stance of my character. I opens up inventory, of course, and then I can just click certain things in battle as needed. I'm able to just right click on the screen, and it'll like literally just continue walking wherever I put it. Battle is pretty straightforward. It I haven't had any issues with that. Certain types of enemies, it's like, oh yeah, he's heavily armored, so you want to try like a higher stance, like have your sword up in the air. It's a quicker enemy. You have to have it like, at an angle on your waist, or maybe you've got a horde of enemies coming, so you need a wider stance and you need to set the sword out further. So those are the little things that the game, just kind of lets you know in advance. It's guiding you for the most part as far as potions are concerned, and when you need to use them, when you don't. So it's still very early on. I got past the first major section where a sorcerer comes in, and I don't know the name of the sorcerer, but a sorcerer and a professor come in, and then Geralt, and then I forget the name of what's
Was
his
it a
face
lady
still.
sorcerer?
No, it's a male sorcerer. Like he's like fully buff, decked out, like has a hat on. It's crazy. But they raid the laboratory in where the Witcher hang out, I guess, because I'm still learning names here at the same time. But
Have you seen the show?
I have seen a show, but
I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
while. But I know Triss was there, and then you had Geralt, and then I forget what's his name, the older guy that oversees everything. And
The
then
old Witcher?
yeah, and then I
His
know
like trainer guy?
yeah, and then I know it starts with a K. They're like place that they hold up at. But basically, the sorcerer comes in, professor. They raid their laboratory and they leave, and one of the other witchers dies. Like, and he's not really a witcher; he's a human, like training to be a witcher, I guess. But he's still there, and so he ends up dying. And at this point, it's more so just kind of going through this castle or fort, however you want to call it, and talking to a few other people, and then kind of figuring out what to do next. But very, very early stages, so that's why I don't really know many of the names. I'm maybe 45 minutes into it, but I do like it, so it's good. The other game that we started playing was Final Fantasy VI. So that's the game my wife and I are playing.
You sent me that picture of Final Fantasy VI, and I was like, he's never going to play Witcher.
No, so my wife and I had beat Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and naturally it was what's the next game, and
Had
she's
she beaten 5 because she's going in order, right?
Mm-hmm. So she beat 1 through 5 already a long time ago. Funny enough, she's played. No, we're probably tied on how many Final Fantasies we both played. Yeah, she played 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Knocked those out, and had been wanting to play 6 for some time. 6 is one of the best stories. There's a lot of people out there that truly think like 6 is the best Final Fantasy. And I could see why, man. Maybe we're about 3 or 4 hours into the game. And we've been playing like every day this week, man. It's been like, what do you want to do tonight? We're going to play Final Fantasy. So it's been solid. I'm really liking the story. You've got Kefka is the main villain so far, but the Imperial Army is essentially trying to find espers, it seems like, in the world to be able to take over different countries throughout this world in Final Fantasy VI. And you've gone across several kingdoms that are essentially taken over by the Imperial Army at this point, as you get different characters that you were building up your party with. So we've got Terra, Locke, obviously Kefka's the evil guy. We've got Sabin, we have Edgar, I had Shadow, Cyan, I think is the other guy's name. I think there's one more. And there's like this wild kid that we found in Velt, VELDT is the name of the country, or that area. And so, yeah, I mean, like you're just kind of progressing through the world, and at some point the party gets split. So we're in this situation right now where we're all trying to get back to where the original Esper was found with Terra, to try and see if that's a way to be able to get magic and, destroy the Imperial Army. But we all went our separate ways, so we're doing all these different scenes. So right now we finished up Locke, and now we are on Sabin's, and then we'll move towards Terra's next. But we're all trying to get to Narsh, I think is the name of the city that we have to get back to. That shows you how much more I've been playing that compared to Witcher, because we've been like active every day playing this. But it's solid, dude. I'm definitely liking it so far. And then I'll discuss really quick before you jump into what you picked up and what you're playing. But I went to Crit Hit Con this past week.
We love them.
Yep. Awesome people there. So I didn't get to see any of the crew. So I guess the time I went, they were busy at the moment. And, once I left is when I heard back from Jim. But yeah, Crit Hit was great. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. One of the cool things about that event, and Jim talked to you about it, is the vendor area is free to play, right? So if you want to shop around, it's free. There's no issue to do that. Now, if you want to obviously rent essentially different games, right? Like play whatever they've got behind them, get a badge, whether it's a Saturday, Sunday, chill out, meet some new people, play a bunch of different games you've never played before, learn about those games, play some RPGs. Like they had tons of stuff there. They had Warhammer stuff going on in the back. They had a number of people playing some different TTRPGs there that I saw going on. And then my wife and my son and I played several games as well that were more kid friendly, and he had a blast with what we played too. But yeah, I mean, the event as a whole, I really like what they did with the layout for the games this year. Instead of, well, you weren't there last year, but last year they had it to where you kind of walked into the hotel and you went to the right, and then in that section they had all the board games like set up, right? But it wasn't immediate when you walked in. When you walked in this go around, like it was, table was set, crew was there, they had things that they were selling, and then they also had the board games behind them in their layout that they had at Game On Expo. And it was great, man. Like super easy, super friendly people to interact with there, as far as the staff are concerned, and everyone else, of course, as well. But with the staff, it was like, hey, here's my son, super little, what can you recommend? And it was like, oh yeah, here's several ideas.
We got that.
Pulled them aside. Yeah, exactly. We've got that, pulled it aside and said, this one is about this one's about this. I definitely recommend this one over that one because it's, not as kid friendly or maybe not as easy to learn, won't keep his attention as long. So like, that's kind of what we did with that. And then let's see, we also met up with a couple individuals that have their own things that they're creating, some different board games. So we'll hopefully have one of them on pretty soon on the podcast. Cool. And then I saw AZ Stolas as well, who we had on the podcast here to talk about his D&D adventure that he's been creating. So a lot of cool people, great event. Highly recommend if you're in the Mesa area or Phoenix area in general, and check it out next time it's going on. But it's crithit.com. Or they might have,
we'll definitely have Jim on before next year to let y'all know.
Yep. And then D&D campaigns. So I think after I talked to you, you were like, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. It felt like we're finally starting to kind of make some forward progress. I mean, it's tough when you're just going to school. You
Well,
know,
yeah.
you never feel like you're actually going to graduate.
Well, think about it in like the Harry Potter sense, right? Like it's seriously like as I've been going through it, it's to a T. So in the Harry
You're
Potter
right. The
movies,
useless teachers and everything.
you have useless teachers, right? Who don't do shit the whole time. And then the story itself is the same, right? Like you have small little increments of things that happen. So like in book one, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on. You really don't know what's happening. Professor Quirrell fight happens. That's it, right? There might be a couple things that happen during the course of a year that are a little wonky, but otherwise you don't really know any better, right? You're just kind of getting your legs into dealing with school. Second book, kind of the same deal, right? There's a Chamber of Secrets. There's things going on campus
You
that
know, your second year of school,
your
when you
second year of
discover
school.
that Chamber of Secrets, we've all been there.
But there's like students that are being petrified and things like that are happening, right? There's a basilisk that nobody knows about. Harry's getting this sense of what's occurring, and then Chamber of Secrets, and like they really it starts to build up, right? And then when you get to the final stage of that, is when you're like, oh shit, like everything's hit the fan, like we're starting to uncover like the Horcruxes, right? You don't learn about that until book 6, right? I think it's book 6.
I think 5, right?
Well,
Isn't that the
not
one where
really.
Sirius
So
dies and they're like starting to make the Order of the Phoenix?
you're right, but they don't know about the Horcruxes, I think, until like 6, I want to say, is
Okay.
when they finally discover it. But yeah, you're right. Like there are different
Your wife
things
is
that
the
happen.
authority on this.
Yeah, she is. But you get my point, right? Like it takes about 3 to
Yeah.
4 books to get into it to where you're like, oh, okay, like this is starting to really ramp up. And the characters themselves are now no longer really focused on school or focused at the bigger task at hand. So you guys kind of dealt with that too. I think this is year 3 that you guys are in,
I believe so.
technically. Yeah. So yeah, 4 years, year 3. So yeah, I mean, you guys went through the first 2 years. Things are happening. You don't really know what's happening on campus. People don't really believe it. Similar to Voldemort, nobody believes, yeah, he's back or he's got any sort of power remaining. And and then as you've progressed, now you're at this point where things are happening. You're learning that there's mysteries in the school potentially. There's professors that have killed students in the past. There's this crazy ass wizard, bullywog wizard out there who's wanting to destroy the world. And these are all things that you really weren't privy to, but it's starting to pick up. So the session prior, you guys were trying to, you had the professor that you broke into her office. You tried to find his green orb because you hear it's making students sick, right? We ended on that. You guys went out to your dorms at night. I picked it up the same night where we have Knock, who is my wife's Owlin character, is smoking on top of Biblioplex and sees shimmers of small bits of magical light coming from robes in the distance in the darkness, and basically sees as members of the Auric, which you guys have fought in the past. You all confront the Auric. Seeker actually confronts the Auric to try and disguise himself as a leader who they all know the leader's not there, and they've all discussed their stuff of what's happening because they've encountered you guys before. This isn't the first time. So that's why I kind of laughed when Joel was like, I'm going to disguise myself as this one particular character. So that
that's one of our go-to moves is either impersonate somebody or try to use the small beans. Beans and impersonation. Those are our A and B plans.
And Joel was so thrown off. I'm like, he casts detect magic on you. And he's like, wait, what? You can do this? So like Joel knows this, but you guys have gotten away with it so often that now characters are catching wise to the fact that, hey, you know what? He's probably faking it. Like we've got to make sure that we're all set up correctly to not go into a situation that's going to harm what we're trying to accomplish here in terms of the bad guys. But in talking with the Auric, they basically are like, hey, we're just trying to reshape the university. We don't agree with the way that they teach things. You guys aren't learning to defend yourselves. There have been deaths on campus. You guys try to pretty much say like, oh, well, you're responsible for this and this and this. And they're like, no, we had like nothing to do with that. That's a completely separate individual. You're either with us or against us. And at one point they came up behind Ryan's character and whispered in her ear, like, we know you're smarter than this. And you're greater than your peers, and our numbers are going to grow, and we're going to reshape Strixhaven. And you just blasted a dude. Yeah. Just like that, technically, what wouldn't necessarily have been a battle until you blasted him. So
he snuck up and started whispering in my ear.
He was whispering
words.
He was whispering sweet
If somebody sneaks up behind you and whispers in your ear, that's a no. That's no, sir.
It depends on who it is and what it's about. So,
word of radiance.
So yeah, I don't know. It was a word of radiance. What'd you do to blast him? Okay, yeah. So your word of radiance, he shadow steps back to where he's at, and he's like, all right, well, clearly you're not listening to reason, so maybe this will change your mind. And then you guys battle an Alip and 4 hellhounds. The Alip whispers into your ear that there was a professor on campus 200 years ago that supported a wizard on campus and killed many students, and that this wizard is going to rise again, is going to reshape the world, and a whole bunch of other stuff.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. I told you, it's Harry Potter, D&D. And then you were killed right off the bat from that.
I was playing with one hand tied behind my back, though, because I was using a level 5 character still, because somehow I lost like the saved PDF of the level up. I was like, I kept thinking to myself, I was like, don't I have more spells than this? Don't I have more abilities? Like, because I remember I got this ability a while ago that's like, when anybody heals around me, they can re-roll die. And it just wasn't on my sheet. And I was like, maybe I was just excited about it coming up soon. And I just like, I don't know. You ever feel like embarrassed to be like, wait, are we actually doing this, or am I behind right now? So I just didn't even bring it up.
I didn't even Ryan tells me after, he's like, oh yeah, so I learned that I was using a level 5 character sheet. I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to be level 6. You're going to be level 7 pretty soon, actually. But that worked out to my benefit because I got to blast you for like 40 damage on the first hit. I
went down hard.
Oh yeah. You got absolutely demolished at that point. And so, but when I hit you for 40, you're like, oh, that's really bad for me. I'm like, well, that's my target. The rest of this to kind of flesh out this story. But I've told you guys in the past, like Strixhaven death doesn't exactly last very long. In that particular instance, though, I don't know.
Except for all those poor 6 students.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it depends on what the death is, right? So in your instance,
only main characters get Phoenix Downs.
Yeah. In your instance, though, if 12 minutes would have passed, you would have turned into an Alip and you would have had to re-roll a character at that point.
Why so I play as this evil Alip?
I guess you could, but then you'd be like a dark being that would be neutral evil, I think, technically.
Yeah, well, so is Noct.
Noct's not evil.
Neutral.
Neutral? Okay,
dark.
Not really. It's a black and white owlet, like, so it's not the same. But so that's why I'd asked initially, like, hey, Noct, don't you have Revivify? And my wife's like, yeah, I got Revivify. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pick on you. So you're the one.
Yeah, leave the healer up.
Yeah, leave the healer up. But yeah, I felt it was a pretty good campaign overall. So I've got you guys lined up to now explore the Biblioplex restricted section to learn more about this professor that killed a bunch of students on campus with this dark wizard. You guys are hoping to uncover more of his mystery and kind of go forward from there. So I'm excited where things are. I've changed up the way I plan the campaign, how I develop the stories via usage of AI, and then populating in what I want to have happen. And then from there, just like dig deeper into what the story needs to be. And then of course I'm fleshing in all of my own ideas as well. So a lot of good stuff in there, but I'm excited to where it's going. And I'm now at a point where I feel like the next campaign that I run in the future, I'll be a lot better prepared when it comes to running something of like this scenario, just based on how I'm doing it now. It sucks that it took me so long to get there, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy that we did like this
learning journey running D&D.
Yeah, well, I've run campaigns before, but I've done like the campaign book where it's already kind of spelled out, here's what's happening, and then put in my own spin. This was, you're putting in your own spin from the start. You can either follow this really crappy
a framework to follow.
Yeah, exactly. And a framework is not very good in Strixhaven, so that's where AI is coming super helpful. But that is it for my week. I will pass it on to you, sir.
So I ordered something pretty cool today. It will be in a couple of weeks, so I'll show that off when it arrives. It'll be cool. I hope it'll be cool. I don't know. And
is
then
magic? Is it magic related?
No, it is a I guess it's like a cosplay accessory.
Oh, okay.
That I just got because it's something that I wanted to get because I think it would be useful at certain times and in certain situations.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
And everybody will appreciate it. At least you'll appreciate it. I know.
Probably lights up.
And it does not light up.
Well, I don't know if I'll appreciate it then.
It is highly flammable, though.
Oh, then I'll really appreciate it. See, it lights up.
It does get lit up depending on how poorly you manage to use it.
Hey, I said, does it light up? You lied initially and said no, but it's flammable, so it has possibilities there.
And then as far as playing, I haven't really played much of anything. I think, oh, actually, you know what? No. Me and my buddies, we took a break this week from playing Risk of Rain Run Night, and we're gonna this is like my crew that we all used to play Halo together. So it's just been so long that we kind of decided, hey, like, let's all just like run through Halo together. So we actually picked it up at Reach, which I've never played Halo Reach before. And actually, while I was playing with them, I kind of realized that Halo 3 is actually the only game that I've ever owned out of that set, because I never got 4. I mean, I downloaded Halo Infinite, but I don't think I ever even started the campaign on that. I think I just kind of played a few multiplayer maps, and then 1 and 2 I just played over at my friend's house because I never had an original Xbox. So it'll be fun kind of trying to run through all those again. We played the first few missions. Halo Reach is interesting. It's like, as soon as we booted up the game, I was telling my friend, I was like, man, it's always so weird going back to Halo because there's no sprint. And like in almost every other first person shooter, you're used to like being able to sprint. But Halo Reach actually has like equipments that you can put on your Spartan, and the default one is a sprint. So I was like, oh shit, there is a sprint. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really all I have this week, though.
No. You have been playing episodes of One Piece as well.
Oh yeah, so One Piece. I guess spoilers for anybody who's far behind in One Piece. Let's see, what did I do? I got caught up through the dub, because I think last week you and I were talking on here, and you made me realize, oh, there's actually way more episodes than what I thought. I was just looking at the dub count list. So now I'm beyond that, and I'm at the Egghead Island fight between Kizaru and Sentomaru. I skipped over the whole redo of Fishman Island arc, because that was like the worst arc already, and I just don't really want to take a 20 episode hiatus to revisit it again.
Yeah, especially when it's just remastered with like the new animation. Like,
yeah, my buddy said it's basically just like watching One Piece.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
So you're not at my scene yet where I was like,
no, not yet, not quite yet. Is it still an Egghead?
Yeah, it's an Egghead. Yeah. And in fact, we're not out of Egghead yet. It's just been.
Oh, I thought it was already on to Elbaf.
No.
Maybe in the manga.
Maybe in a manga, yeah. It's not an Elbaf.
My buddy, he's caught up to the manga, and he's talking about Elbaf.
Yeah, they're discussing Elbaf, like that's the next place they're going to go to.
Yeah, I know that's where they're going to go now, or they know in the show at the point I'm at that that's their next destination.
Yeah, but right now it's the Kuma story, Kuma back.
Yeah,
that's going well.
Yeah, I can tell there's going to be a lot of emotional Kuma backstory coming up pretty soon from just like the intro.
Yeah, with Jewelry Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically her and Kuma's backstory is what it is. It's been really good. But yeah, the part that I'm thinking about, you're not there yet. You'll be there soon. So one more thing before we dig into our articles this week. Will just wanted to let me know that he is officially no longer opening games as of July 1st, is what he said. And he's like, you need to backtrack again. So I am not going to backtrack. I'm just going to repeat what he said. And let me go to my messenger here. I'm just going to quote the man directly. I just got to go in. It's been a little bit since I talked to him. Here we go. He said, I caught up on the podcast, and I hate to tell you this, but as of July 1st, I ended the practice of opening sealed games. So I'm going to need a retraction from you. Yeah. No.
So
no
what,
retraction.
He just like he buys a physical, and then if he wants to play it, he gets a digital copy?
I don't know what he's doing, but he is enjoying memes of Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy as well. So I don't know. He sent me a very pretty Cloud ex-soldier with the ponytail. I don't know if that's a real card or not, but yeah.
Are you excited for Space Magic?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely stoked. I'm gonna get a pre-con. I'm gonna get some slivers. I need a new job first, so once I get
I
that,
heard that there's no slivers actually in this set. There's just a sliver artifact that's going to be in this set, and then maybe in the next like release there will be slivers.
I don't know. I all the sliver stuff shot up in price because of it.
Yeah, I think
So
it's because of like they're speculating, or maybe because this artifact was really good.
I had my eye on the sliver commander deck, and it was like less than $200. Now it's almost 300 for that. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna wait a little bit. I could technically buy it, but I'm gonna wait to get a new job first, and then I'll go ahead and buy it. But yeah, so just that statement from Will, just our weekly statement. But first, let's go into next. Let's go into our weekly articles. So, younger Americans have spent 25% less on video games this year than last. This comes from IGN. I think there's no surprise here. So, economy is not doing as great as people say it's doing. There's a lot of layoffs going on in the industry right now. Student loans are going to be kicking back up here for young Americans. Game prices are up as well. So, yeah, I would think 25% less is correct. However, this particular article or survey that they did not include any of the data from the Switch's release and all the games that were sold from that, or Switch 2 release and all the games sold from that. So could it be a little
All
higher?
the game,
All the game.
just,
No, there
just
were
Mario Kart.
there were other games that were released.
Yeah, I know, but like you're not moving the needle by selling the worst version of Cyberpunk that you can buy.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know. Maybe you are, man. Nintendo fans that are only exclusive Nintendo haven't really played it, right? So they're going to play whatever version they can. Same with Hogwarts Legacy and other titles out there that they haven't had their hands on. So, yeah, it doesn't include that data. So I would assume that if that data was included, this number would be a little less in terms of a gap from this year to last year.
I mean,
But
maybe like that's the thing is for that age range there too, though. Like, I mean, if you can't afford regular games, you're probably not buying the most expensive Nintendo console that's ever come out.
yeah, and a lot of what it says is there's people playing free games, right? And kind of doing as much as they can there, which makes sense.
Apex Legends, League of Legends, all the fallback live service games.
Whatever you can get that isn't going to require you to put in a bunch of money makes sense if that's what they're playing. But all that said, I do think if you include Switch 2 data here, it is going to be a little bit different. You got to figure maybe people were saving their money to buy the Switch 2 in a game or two, and that's where that was. You had mentioned before we started recording Grand Theft Auto 6. That's another title people are waiting for. So it could just be that there aren't any major games that people are interested in playing right now. And maybe it's been a dull year at this point, as far as that's concerned. So that could be it.
I mean, there's been that's kind of where my mind first went when I was like, what's come out this year? And then I was like, fucking a bunch of banging stuff like Expedition 33.
But like that's a title.
Things.
Expedition 33 sold well, but it's not a game that people were saying like looking forward to for like 2 or 3 years, right?
Well, but I mean, there's been a lot of good games that have come out this year. Yeah. It's not like it's just been a dry year.
No, I agree. It hasn't been a dry year at all. It's just not those critically acclaimed like big AAA titles that people were, like it wasn't a God of War year, for example. At least I'm pretty sure it wasn't. It's been a bit. But yeah, like no big God of War game, no major Final Fantasy releases, right? Yeah, because Final Fantasy 16 came out last year, I think. So, I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at, right? You haven't had any major releases at this point that are really kind of pulling people in to purchase new titles. That said, it's only July. So if you did this comparatively and said, last year to July and this year to July, I would argue there's probably some big blockbuster releases that came out this time last year that would have, indicated greater purchases comparatively.
I mean, was Avowed, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Death Stranding 2.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is probably the biggest game on that list as far as something that's going to move the needle. And I don't even think that one sold as well as they say it did.
Split Fiction.
Again, another smaller title.
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Not as big, man. And actually, Monster Hunter Wilds, I think, did fairly poor compared to what they were thinking was going to do.
It's performing badly on PC, technically, but it also just kind of simplified some of the Monster Hunter formula that people, don't really like. I don't know. It's been a big year for a lot of things that people have been looking forward to, and not all of those things have really hit it out of the park. Like Avowed came out and it was cool, but it wasn't like the second coming of, New Vegas or anything like that.
So here last year we had Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, just a few of them. You had Animal Well, you had Balatro, you had Dragon's Dogma 2, you had Helldivers 2, you had the Indiana Jones game. I think it was supposed to come out this year actually, so don't count that one.
No, that was last year.
Oh, was it? Yeah, so that the newest Prince of Persia that had come out, Silent Hill 2, yeah, I'm just speeding through these. There was a new World of Warcraft thing that came out, Arkham Shadow, Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the campaign for that, and Call of Duty 6 multiplayer came out with zombies. So, I mean, just that list alone of games that came out.
Well, I mean, we're only halfway through this year.
Dragon Guard,
like I'm sure
Dragon Age
they'll be kind of
Veilguard,
more side by side by the end of the year.
EA Sports Football 2025, which was the first football game that come out in a decade almost. Yeah, I think a decade. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few big titles that came out last year. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out as well.
I mean, like, there's gonna be a Call of Duty this year. It just hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like those same people are gonna buy this same game this year as they did last year.
Yeah.
So that's like some of those are kind of more neutral.
Yeah, I get it, but
either way, I get what you're saying. So
yeah,
like sales are down.
Yeah, bigger name titles last year.
Everything sucks. World's on fire. Nobody has any money.
Yeah, I sure still don't right now. Somebody get me a job.
Right.
So, all right. Let's move into your article.
All right. Nintendo sending out game key card surveys. Update. This is from Raw Meat Cowboy at Go Nintendo. So
could be Raw Meat
key
at
cards.
Cowboy.
We've talked about that before here. Most of us who are kind of in the know, read game news, have podcasts about gaming news, we obviously understand game key cards, but Nintendo doesn't really think that the layperson does. And I don't know, some other people that I watch, they kind of agree with that sentiment. And this is kind of just a little survey that Nintendo's putting out in Japan to try to gauge understanding and, I don't know, try to get an idea of how people think about game cards, but in a very, very limited scope. It's not like some kind of open survey where you could fill in your answers. It's 3 questions. Here's the answers you could choose from. And at the end of the day, I think this is more of just kind of a way for Nintendo to gather data that they can use to mold and just direct in the way that they want, rather than to take actual feedback from anybody. And the game key cards they fill a weird spot in gaming right now because, we're getting so far into games being primarily purchased digitally instead of physically, and people are very worried about the future of game preservation. And if it's not all released on the cart or the CD and you have to download half the data or more, then once those servers aren't there to call to in the future, you're just going to have a nice coaster or I don't know what you could realistically use a game key card for, a thick bookmark.
Poker chips. Poker chips. Dude.
Poker chips. There you go. Poker chips. So game key cards do allow third-party publishers to be able to create a physical release without having to break the bank on a really expensive chip. We were kind of joking just a little bit ago, but Cyberpunk, they released the full game on a 64 gig key card. because they were able to get it all whittled down to that. Obviously, Nintendo, they can release their games on the key cards because they're in control of the production and everything. You know, they're going to do what they're going to do because it's all first party. But for those third parties, like, the price difference just apparently isn't there or worthwhile, or for some games still wouldn't be enough, you know, capacity to be able to fit on even the more expensive larger card. So this allows them to have kind of that route out, to have something on the store facing that you can pick up when you pick up your system or on a whim or whatever while you're out and about in the world, rather than having to rely on you to go to the eShop and peruse through and find their game and decide that's the game you want, when you can see a zillion other things and crazy discounts and free games and all that. Much less competition on the shelf at Target for games. But yeah, a lot of people aren't into the game key cards because it's only like, here's the files you need so that you could call the server and get the rest of the stuff. Yep. Their survey that they're asking about now,
I've got
3 questions. Yeah, we'll just go through them quick. So prior to this survey, were you aware there is a type of game card called game key card among the different types of Nintendo Switch 2 physical releases? And then your options are: A, I own game key cards; B, I don't own game key cards but am aware of them; C, I didn't know about game key cards. Question 2, are you aware of these particular features about game key cards? Please tick everything you know.
I do want to go in that really quick, just from a survey perspective. When you look at those answers, right, when they're getting that data back and what it means. So I own game key cards. Obviously, okay, cool. People, they own game key cards, right? That means they're being purchased. I don't own game key cards, but I'm aware of them. Okay, so that tells us Nintendo, oh, well, they're buying digital, right? That's a digital answer. And then I didn't know about game key cards. That also tells you digital, right? So that right there, internal data, when they get that and they're looking at it to make a determination on digital versus game key card, that would sway that data.
Technically, C could be somebody who bought a game key card and doesn't understand what's different between that and a normal game.
But in that case, then that should have been after your next question. So go ahead and
okay,
yeah. In terms of like, I didn't know about game key cards, like that would be, I didn't know about the features of game key cards. That's how that should be phrased if we're saying it the way you are. I didn't know about game key cards would be an indication that they didn't know there's physical media.
So the features of game key cards, check off the ones you know about. After downloading the game data, you can start the game even without connecting to the internet. B, you are required to connect to the internet to download the game data when you insert and use a new game key card for the first time. C, in order to download the game data, you need free memory space on a micro SD express card or the internal storage. D, you can also download game data on another system by simply inserting the game key card. And E, you are required to have the game key card inserted in the system in order to start and play the game. And F, I don't know any of them. So these are just kind of, here's all the things about game key cards. You know, if you know about them, do you know all of this stuff about them or not?
And so this in general is a very self-serving question for Nintendo and self-serving in terms of responses. It's not doing anything for the consumer other than putting in their mind the features of game key cards. It doesn't get any consumer data as to whether or not they like game key cards based on this. It doesn't do that.
It can give them information saying like, okay, we're selling game key cards and 50% of people checked A, 40% of people checked B, 1% of people checked E. Nobody knows that you're required to have the game key card in there. Like it could just be a gap in their marketing and they're not explaining these individual aspects that are polling low.
Exactly. So yeah, self-serving, right? So it's very much
it's their own survey. Who else is going to serve?
The purpose, though, and it's outlined at the beginning of this article, the main purpose of this is that it's divisive aspect of the Switch 2, that people are up in arms and frustrated over this. And hey, we're putting out this survey about game key cards. Now, that's the assumption of the article, right? That they're putting out this survey to kind of get a feel for the market and what's happening in the market. Whereas the survey itself tells a totally different story. To your point, it's very internal, we'd like to learn more about how our marketing is portraying game key cards. And if they don't know anything about it, then clearly we're not doing a good enough job of getting that word into market about the features of game key cards. But again, this is very much a digital versus game key card. And let's just put as much information in front of a consumer about these benefits versus what are the cons of a game key card. All of these are featured, like how they've listed it makes it seem like it's positive, when these are actually a lot of the negative pieces that people are complaining about.
I mean, they are just kind of the facts of it.
They are, yeah.
And then lastly, after reading the explanations above, if there is a game key card and a digital release for a game that you wish to buy, which will you choose? Please select an option that aligns with your thinking. I will try to buy the game key card as much as possible. If anything, I'd say I'll go with the game key card. Can't say which, not sure. If anything, I'd say I'll go with the digital version, and I will try to buy the digital version as much as possible. So really, they're giving you the choice of how you want to destroy game preservation and which, less consumer forward approach to the future of gaming you approve of most. Like, there's obviously no option for, I would prefer to just buy the fucking game like I have for the last 30 years.
I think I might clip that for YouTube. That whole quote. No, I mean, exactly. This is completely anti-preservation of gaming. It's the destruction of physical media at this point. And Nintendo is just openly saying that question number 3, hey, you're either going to get game key cards, which isn't going to be the full game in most cases, or in some cases, I guess, depending on where things go. Or, hey, buy a digital where you just have a license. And either of these can be ripped out of your possession at any point because we control it at the end of the day. That's all it is. And this survey does not settle the issue, which you had already mentioned. It's the entire game on the cart versus a portion of a game on the cart requiring a download. And if you look at the comments, the first guy is like, I think this is consumer friendly and good to actually be motivated and take a temperature. That individual is probably a Nintendo fanboy, because the next few people.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna call this guy
out. No, don't call him out. But yeah, and then
he's a plant.
The rest of them, somebody's like, oh, I only buy digital, really interested in them. And then somebody's like, their intentions are really clear in these questions. I can only hope consumers choose to support game key cards in survey because if they are phased out, that only brings us ever closer to digital. So like,
it's not any better though.
It's not, and then there's a couple other people like, wow, this is a really bad survey. It isn't. And then he says, like, my thing, this issue isn't digital versus game. It's game key card. It's like the freaking game on the actual card versus a portion. So there's some people out there to get it. A few other people are drinking that Nintendo Kool-Aid. I think in general, we already know the market's going to head to a more digital aspect. There has to be something done in terms of ownership of those games, though.
Yeah, there's just like, there's so many aspects to this that could like make one thing better than the other, but they choose not to really take those stances. Like, you would get a much different result, probably a more positive result in the way that Nintendo and all these publishers would want, if you knocked $5 off of the digital price. If you made all digital games $5 cheaper, because you don't have to physically make anything, ship it anywhere, and upsell it. Like, if you get rid of all of that stuff that involves a store and a physical game, like, you shouldn't be able to charge the same price for doing way less effort, into what you're actually giving to the consumer. And I feel like there's other markets and stuff that, understand that. Like, DVDs are cheaper than Blu-rays. They're less quality. You're getting less out of that deal. There's no reason to pay the same price for an inferior version of something else that you can get at the same place right next to each other, basically.
Yeah. And these tactics, they're not exact, like, long term, it's just going to push more piracy for these games, right? Like, oh, you're telling me that you could take away the license at any point, or the servers are going to go down and I can't play that game anymore, even if it's got like a single player campaign mode or something. People are going to be drawn to piracy so they can have a digital copy of that game available to them at any time. So I don't think this really does the game industry any good to go this route. And the fight that they're trying to put up against consumers by making it as less consumer friendly as possible, I don't think it's going to go well in the long term.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, I think that this is all kind of fruitless and a waste of time completely because of two reasons, really. A, it's all going to be all digital in the future anyways. Like, that's the inevitability. We're just waiting to see how long we get there, but it's going to show those results in the long-term history of the Switch 2 because game key cards are made for third-party studios and only the ones that care enough and are going to make enough to make that game key card happen. And probably only for like remakes, remasters, and new games will receive that treatment. But with the Switch 2 being such a powerhouse compared to the Switch 1 and the ability to just like port over all the titles from like PS4, you know, like you're going to be able to just move every game from the last generation basically over to be playable, portable on the Switch 2 for the first time, you know, potentially as like a handheld experience. And there's going to be so many games that are going to get pushed onto the Switch 2 that like the amount of digital sales versus game key card sales is just going to be so eclipsed that it's completely irrelevant. Like they could throw the game key cards out today and nobody would lose any money.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you. And Nintendo's got a hardcore fan base. So at that point, well, you know, we'll see how it affects them because Nintendo fans, I would like to believe, are very much physical media enthusiasts, at least like the hardcore fans versus like, you know, your younger generations that are more digital. So
softcore
fans. Yeah. Yeah. If we're going to go through all that. So yeah, we'll see long term what happens here. But let's dive into a game that you can own physically, complete on disc, and that is Sonic Adventure. So this was developed by the Sonic team. That's surprise, surprise, the Sonic team. Published by Sega, designed by, I didn't do my hyphens, Takao Miyoshi, Takashi, let's see, is that Lizuka? Interesting. I've never seen an L. Yeah, interesting. Yojiro Ogawa. There we go. God, my hyphens are so much handier. It was released in 1998. It is a platform action adventure game. Reception is an 8 to 9 out of 10 on this one. Ryan, what's it about?
So, Dr. Robotnik is at it again, and this time he's using the power of an ancient creature known as Chaos. Play as Sonic and his friends to stop Chaos from gaining the powers of the Chaos Emeralds and destroying the world. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big, and E102 Gamma all join forces and use their unique skills to save the day.
Yeah, so this game was released originally on Dreamcast. That's what I played on. Ryan played DX on the GameCube. So from what I have heard, the Dreamcast version is actually superior to that of the GameCube version in terms of graphics and gameplay, which is, you know, actually Dreamcast is a pretty good console in terms of graphics. I never really had any major concerns with that one. In fact, I've always enjoyed every Dreamcast game I played compared to releases on those other generation consoles. But in short, I mean, you kind of start off this Sonic game battling this giant water blob, it looks like, in the city, as far as my version. I don't know if it was any different on yours.
Yeah.
It should be the same. 3 hits, he's gone, and you end up in a resort with beaches all around you. And you go through summary. Yeah. And you learn that Tails is crashed off on some remote part of the beach. And these beaches have lots of, you know, tunnels and random hoops and things that you could jump through, and killer whales trying to destroy docks and such as you're racing to find your way to Tails, who, for whatever reason, somehow randomly found a Chaos Emerald or Chaos Gem or whatever on his during his crash. Yeah. Well, was it specifically Emerald? Because there's different gems, right? They're all emeralds. Okay. See, that's
they're all different colored emeralds.
Well, emeralds are green. That's why I always get confused with it. It should be like a Chaos Sapphire.
Gems are weird. Like sapphires and rubies are the same thing. They're just different color.
No, there you go. It should be literally the same thing. So either way, you go through beat the first level, so it's like stage 1, etc. You go through, then you talk to Tails, and you're like stage 2, and it's literally the same stage. And you go through the same stage several times with different types of things that you're supposed to accomplish. So whether it's collect 50 coins towards the end and destroy the beacon or whatever it is that you have to destroy, or destroy 2 of them in 2 minutes, like it just has various objectives.
Did you just
that you
keep going back to the first level?
I did, yeah, because I wanted to see what else I could do in the first level.
Okay, yeah, there's other levels.
No, I know,
on.
but I wanted to continue doing what was in there to see how far I could get before it was like completely ridiculous as far as what I need to do. And I knew you would probably end up playing more than just first level. So yeah, I mean, I felt that as I was playing it, it was Sonic is a little difficult at times for me because it's so fast, pun intended, I guess. But when you get into that like 3D platformer type of mode, it's really difficult to control getting Sonic lined up to get a certain amount of rings. So with there being so many different obstacles in your way in this game, it's pretty difficult, right? To make it a thing, and hitting enemies as well is kind of tough. But overall, I mean, I felt it controlled really well. And one of the reasons I continued to play the same level is I wanted to get a feel for it and see how much faster and better I could get at it as I progressed through and got used to those controls in the area. And so I spent a good bit of time messing with that. And I got to a point where I hit, on my third attempt, I think I got in 2 minutes and 15 seconds going through the level. My first go round was like 3.5 or 4 minutes. So I shaved off a good chunk of time doing it, and just, learning all of the different cuts and such to get in between to different coins, and which ramp to hit and where to hit it and such, and when to speed up and not to speed up. Like, it really started to click doing it in that manner.
Have you ever played this game before, John?
So that's why I said CompUSA. I initially played this game as a demo on a Dreamcast in CompUSA when my family was searching for computers back then.
Was it the same level?
It was not the same level back then. I don't remember what level it was, but I just remember they had that level, but it wasn't in its entirety. It was like a portion of that and something else. I don't remember the full demo. But yeah, I mean, that was for me like the nostalgia component. My family was out searching for the first family computer. And while they were doing that, my brother and I were hanging out playing a Dreamcast demo of Crazy Taxi, the Sega fishing game that you and I played, the sport fishing with the salt water.
God.
That was a good one, man. We liked
Wasn't that the one where we couldn't hit the balloons?
Yeah, but we had the reel, so it made it fun. And then they had Sonic as well. So that's what we were playing while they were doing that. And we used to love going to CompUSA when my family's trying to figure out what computer to get, because my dad just couldn't decide. And so, yeah, we played the Sonic demo and other demos all the time. So just super reminiscent back then of that. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Diving back into this and playing through a little bit.
So one thing, John, if that's your full exposure to the game, that's like just Sonic. Nobody else plays like that. The majority of the game is not that style of gameplay.
Yeah.
And there's a horrible fishing game within Sonic in the Big the Cat levels. Notoriously bad. Yeah, I played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle back in the day. That was like where I got on board, because Chow Garden, like, it was all mostly about the Chow Garden. You just kind of did the levels to fuel the Chow Garden for me. The strong pull for nostalgia for this game that a lot of people have, there's kind of been like a renaissance, at least back in when like Let's Plays and stuff were really popular. I watched at least 2 or 3 like full playthroughs with different people on Sonic Adventure, and everybody used to love it. And then everybody talks about how poorly it's aged. And I mean, you could see like a lot of the animations and stuff. I mean, it's hard to hold some of that stuff against an older game. Like, you got to give it some leeway. But Sonic has just kind of been one of those series that they've tried to adapt to 3D in so many different ways over the years that it's actually been, I don't know. The thing with like my take on 3D Sonic is the best time you're playing a 3D Sonic game is where you barely have to do anything. Like when he's going really fast and zooming through the loop-de-loops and it all just looks cool and it's happening and you don't have to touch the controller. Like, that's the best part of it. And then as soon as you're just like, all right, I'm going to turn here. And you just like turn into a wall, stop all your momentum, fall down. And you're just like, the hell, man.
Or attacking. Like the depth perception in this game is so horrendous at times.
Yeah.
I want to knock that certain enemy, or I want to hit that glass container that has, rings in it. It's a pain in the ass, man. Like there was one glass container, like I could not hit it. I'm like, I am trying to hit this damn thing and it is not working. And you have to be like right on top of it, dude.
And it's gotten better. Like some of these things, like this was like the first Sonic Adventure game. So like they were kind of learning how to do some of this and trying to establish those new norms. So like you got to give it some leeway for sure. But it just is like, I don't know. I've never been a big Sonic person. Everybody loves 2D Sonic. I think pretty universally, there's not a lot of flack that those games get. It's mostly just 3D Sonic, and they can't decide the best way to use him, or if they do, it's that, one approach, but then they try to shotgun a bunch of other ideas at you because they want to innovate. They want to make it the best thing ever, and it just never really quite gets there. And I think Sonic Adventure is one of those games where if you used to play it, I hope you just hang on to your copy. Like I hope you never sold it. You never have to buy it again.
Well, this particular game, right, as far as I remember, you played, because I remember going to menu and you had like 8 different characters that you could play as, right? So you had Knuckles was in there, Tails is in there, and I want to say several other characters.
6 characters.
Or 6 characters. Okay. So, but I mean, in general, those characters have their own adventures that you play through, right? So
they all kind of tie in together.
Yeah, like obviously Tails' adventure would somehow coincide with when you first meet up with Sonic, I would imagine, in that part of the adventure. But yeah, I mean, you could play through Sonic's adventure in full and enjoy that and be like, all right, cool, I'm done with the rest of the game. I don't want to mess with anybody else and have a good time with just Sonic. But I mean, having played,
I think to like get the real ending, you do have to
you do
get certain items on other people's stories and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's other components to the game. It's going to have its rough spots as a Sonic game, and being in 3D, which I still don't think has been solved to this day, even with the new stuff that's come out.
People like that last one.
Yeah, the Frontiers, right? Is that what it was called? The open world one?
Is that the one that was like the open world kind of one?
I think it's Sonic
Sounds Frontiers. Like Frontiers would be the title for that.
Yeah. That looks cool. I haven't played it yet, but I wanted to. But yeah, overall, I mean, is it the best Sonic game you're ever going to play? No. Does it have a lot of nostalgia for people? Yes. And is it going to be enjoyable for the most part? I would think yes. I don't think it's the worst game ever, right? It's 8 out of 9 or 8 to 9 out of 10 for a reason. And I would say it's probably, in a little bit of time that I played, that component has at least held up. I don't think that it would have that big of a drop off for me to play a platformer style game with people that don't have Sonic's powers. They each have their own respective abilities that are going to make the game enjoyable. So getting into brass tacks, I think this was the Dreamcast version that you have the scores. Okay. So complete in box, $59.88, which is much higher than I thought it was. Peaked at $69.99 in April of this year. It's holding at that position. A loose copy will run you $41.40, peaked at $50 in February of 2025. And that's trending up in price. Digital, you can get it for $4.99. Or you can get it on Steam for $4.99 as well. I think digital is the way to go on this. I think it is way too high of a price for a Sonic game. There's far better 3D Sonic games that have been released in the years beyond this that are going to be a better price point.
Yeah, I mean, also heads up. So the Sonic DX Adventures Cut, or Sonic DX Adventure Director's Cut, that one for GameCube, you're looking $36.80 loose, $49.99 complete. So pretty close in price. But yeah, again, that digital version, just go with that. Like there's really not enough here unless you've got that crazy nostalgia to really go back and need to own this one. It's probably a lot more accessible too to get a GameCube versus a Dreamcast, I would assume.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So probably, digital or GameCube is going to be your better route to go on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're going to just say inflated.
Yeah, I think regardless, even on GameCube, it'd be inflated as well.
Yeah.
I think there's better 3D Sonic games out there. It is a great deal of nostalgia.
This is the worst Sonic adventure game.
You really think it's
There's
the
only
worst?
2 of them.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I get you on that one. But in terms of 3D Sonic, it's not the worst one. I think there's probably
it's not. What's
yeah.
the
we played Sonic Colors and that was okay.
I think the Arabian Nights one is the one people don't like the most, or the Black Knight one.
Black Knight. Yeah. I haven't played that one yet, but I own it. Maybe we'll give it a shot one day, Ryan.
Unfortunately.
Cool. All right. Well, it is still summer, at least here in Arizona. And I'm sure over by you as well. So I don't know. We'll figure out another summery type of game to play here in the next week.
That summer sizzling.
Yeah, I don't know. Sizzler. God, you just brought back lots of memories of Sizzler. I ate there twice when I was young.
I've never been to a Sizzler.
I don't even know if they're still around. There might be like 1 or 2.
Probably not.
You know what, Ryan? We're gonna appease the people, and I'm just gonna see if Sizzler is still around. I'm pretty sure I saw an advertise. Yeah, Sizzler is still around, Ryan. They are doing business as Sizzler, and they are mainly in California. So sounds like you need to take a trip down to California. Oh, and there are some in Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico. Wow, there's 84 locations of Sizzler, Ryan.
They could keep it.
I think now we need to go to Sizzler. I think we're gonna have to do this. It's gonna have to happen.
Well,
now.
you go do an inflation deflation on Sizzler. And let us know.
Yeah, I will let everybody know. I don't know where in Arizona, but it's Buffalo Ranch Steakhouse brand is apparently what's part of. All right, we've gone off topic. This has been episode 350 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name is John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.